Jesus was anointed or chosen to redeem humanity. Jesus is his name, Messiah is his function, but we see yet again the Son is his identity. Jesus is faithful over all God's house as a son. But here's where verse 6 starts to get personal. And we are God's house, if indeed we hold fast our confidence and our boasting in our hope. We are God's house. Like, sit in that. Let's not rush through that for a minute. We are God's house. The Greek word that we translate house literally just means dwelling. We are where God dwells. Because it's really difficult, if not impossible, for us to grasp the nature of God's omnipresence, which simply means that he is everywhere all the time, all at once. He's not bound by a body like we are. He is not bound by time or even by space like we are. So we have trouble grasping that. So we tend to just think of God as we think of ourselves. Right? That's why we pray for him to come. Right? That's why we sing songs about him needing to come, because we can't grasp the fact that he is here already. We have divided him up, or we have separated him from us. So he's in heaven and we're on earth, and someday we'll all be together. But in the meantime, his spirit just sort of comes and goes when we have a need, or when the service is really good, or the worship is just right, that he'll show up at just the right time. Do we understand how silly it all sounds when we say it like it is? He's omnipresent. He's everywhere all the time. We are God's house. Which means he dwells not only with us, but he dwells in us. I think we have to take a minute or two to consider the history of God's house so that we can fully grasp the implications of what this is saying. First of all, God had no house. He had no designated place of dwelling on earth until he brought Israel out of Egypt and gave Moses the plans of the tabernacle. Moses had no house to go. Moses grew up with no house to go to. Abraham had no house. Noah had no house. There was no church. There was no synagogue. There was no dwelling place of God. No physical place where we could say, that's the house of God. It didn't exist until God brought Israel out of Egypt into the wilderness, and God gave him the plans for the tabernacle. Those plans, Exodus tells us, and Hebrews will later confirm, those plans came down from heaven. They were a picture, a shadow of God's dwelling in heaven. So God dwelled among Israel in the tabernacle, but that did not mean that God was only in the tabernacle. He was then, as he is now, omnipresent, but he made a place, which we could say he made a manifestation of himself in the midst of Israel so that they would know that God was literally with them. It wasn't so God had a place to live. It was so Israel would know God dwells with us. Because God had always dwelled with them, right? He is with his people. He is for his people. And so there was not a divide that there was, but Israel did not know that he was present. And so God gave the tabernacle as a gift to show, I am with you. And now you can know that I am with